How's this for a weird segue? I'm about ready to have my house tented for termites. Stick with me here. These guys are coming over in about a week to tent our entire house, and I'm going to be going out of town while they're doing that because obviously I'm not going to stay here. And I was thinking to myself, like, does a company like a pest control or like a local bakery or like a plumber or, some other service provider, do they ever have a chance to sell any kind of merchandise? Can you imagine a company like the one that's coming over here to tent my house having shirts for sale and people actively wanting to go buy them because those shirts were so rad? So that idea started kicking around in my head and I thought, let's dig into this. Hi, I'm Dave and I make things. What's going on, everybody? If you're new here, my name is Dave, and just like the name of the title thing says, I make the things. I make all the things and put them in all the places. There's an interesting story coming soon about all of the places that I put things, and we're going to talk about that. Specifically, we're going to talk about the Etsy shop because it is the 30-day timeline. It's time for me to talk about Etsy after 30 days, and there's a bunch, actually no, there's not really any news. There's exactly zero news to share. I haven't sold a single product, and basically it's my fault because I number one, didn't promote it. Number two, I didn't put up nearly as many products as I thought I was going to because it's just been a whirlwind over here. I've procrastinated a little bit, I'll admit. But I have got some things in. I do have a bunch of other designs made. I just haven't turned them into print-on-demand products yet. So as soon as I get off my butt to start putting those things back in the shop, then we'll probably go back in and do a little bit more conversation around, hey, what's actually happening on Etsy? So let's shoot for the 60-day timeline, and I'll try to do better about getting stuff up there. I will share one idea, though. This design right here, I put this up, and this has now already become my most popular piece. I haven't sold anything, but it is the one piece that people are seeking out. Let's see what happens if I dig into this, or rather mine my way into more content regarding NFTs and crypto art, because I feel like there's something there, and maybe Etsy is ripe for that. Expect a report back in about 30 days. Anyway, let's get into today's topic, which is, should weird brands or companies make their own print-on-demand merchandise? I believe the short answer to that question is, oh, hell yes, you should. I don't care if you're a piano teacher, a plumber, a bar. If you're a bar, you should have your own merch. A bakery, a shoe cobbler, as my wife calls them. You could have any kind of service business. You could have a salon and a barbershop. I mean, all of these places should have some sort of merch because you may have voracious fans, or it's entirely possible you may actually be able to bring people into your business based strictly on the stuff that you put out on your merchandise. Imagine a potential customers walking down the street, they see somebody in your shirt and they say, oh my God, that's one of the best shirts I've ever seen. Where did you get that? And I got it from Joe's Plumbing. And they're like, I'm gonna go take a look at Joe's Plumbing. I need to get my plumbing fixed. Let's go look at Joe. I know that's probably pretty random and might not necessarily happen, but it could. Because print on demand comes with such a low barrier to entry, any business could get started on this with just a few tips. In our journey to take care of our potential pest problem, one of the things we had to do is call in a specialist to come extract a wild animal. We had a possum up in our attic and we had to call somebody in to do it. The guys that do the tenting, they don't do that kind of work. So we called this guy in, and right now I can't for the life of me remember his name, but he was super nice and super cool. And one of the things that he had on his arm was a tattoo, and it was a possum with a paper bag. And I was asking him, like, what's the deal with the paper bag? And he says, oh, well, anytime you go find a possum anywhere, they're almost always, 99% of the time, they're going to have either a paper or plastic bag with them. For some reason, it's just something that they put in their nest. So him being a specialist and also somebody who's really passionate about his work, he went and got a tattoo of that idea put on his arm. And I was thinking to myself, dude, that should be a shirt. I didn't share that with him at the time, but I was thinking it, and I was thinking, what if he actually did that? What if he took that design and went over to Redbubble and just put up one of those designs and put it up there and said, I'm going to put it on a shirt and some mugs and maybe a tumbler. Put the art up on the shop, and then anytime anybody asks you about it, you can say, oh yeah, they tell them the whole story. And then say, I also got shirts. You can actually wear the shirt yourself, and people are like, that's a crazy shirt. I love that shirt. Can I get that shirt? Of course, you turn around and point them to your shop where they buy the shirt, maybe a mug, maybe they found something else cool there. Or if you're really enterprising, you have an affiliate link for Redbubble, and then you also make money on anything else they did buy while they were there. It could be Redbubble, TeePublic, Zazzle, Society6, Cafe Press. Is that even a thing still? Another option would be Teespring, which has recently rebranded themselves as just Spring. And I bring them up separately of the other companies because they used to be more like Redbubble and TeePublic, but now they're different. Now they're almost like somewhere between that and like Printify or Printful. The way it works is they still allow you to have a shop on their site and people can come to your link, but they're not actively putting your stuff into the marketplace like Redbubble does. It's a little bit weird now. They're trying to re-identify themselves, and I don't know if they've fully honed it, but you can go and build a shop on Spring right now and have the print-on-demand stuff, and it's just a shop, and you just point people there. Now, with any of those options, the Spring, the TeePublic, the Redbubble, any of those, obviously you're just trying to get the merchandise into the hands of the people because you're not looking to sell millions of units. You're not even looking to sell thousands of units. You're just looking to sell a few units and maybe make a few bucks on the side. But really, this is more about the branding and the promotion of your business than it is about, side hustle. If you want to go true baller status, then you would go with something like Printful or Printify, where they do all of the fulfillment and printing and all that, but you host all the information up on your own website. So of course it's going to depend on what kind of website you have, and if you have the capability of something like Shopify or Squarespace, or if you have WooCommerce on maybe a WordPress based website, you can go that route, and that way you're making a little bit more money on the margin, but of course you're doing a little bit more work than say if you were to go to Redbubble or TeePublic, which is they're a little bit more hands-on, they're taking care of business for you. Printify requires a little bit more of your attention. Again, this is less about the money that you could possibly make with any of these things, and it's more about getting the product into the hands of people who might be willing to wear it. And that brings me to the next topic, which is the real talk on how your designs probably aren't good enough to be putting on merch. Let's talk about things you should never put on a t-shirt. Number one, your lame-ass logo. You may think your logo is brilliant and it possibly cost you a lot of money to get made, and it might be a very nice logo. But unless it's something that somebody else is super passionate about, they are not going to wear a t-shirt with just your logo on it. I mean, if you're Nike or Disney, sure. But you're Joe's Plumbing, and unless that logo is the most badass logo ever made, it's likely not going to happen. Nobody is going to wear that shirt. Number two thing you should never put on a t-shirt that you want other people to wear in public: your website address and or your phone number. Let's say Rodent Removal Guy actually did take that artwork and put it up on a t-shirt and, had some sort of witty or clever phrase up on there, and then turn around and put a website address and a phone number and an address and a hey, check us out on Yelp, and put all that stuff underneath it. Why would you mess up a perfectly good idea by throwing the hard sell in there? It doesn't make any sense. You're more likely to get people interested in your merch if you don't have that stuff on it, and if somebody goes and wears the possum with the bag on there and that person walks out into the street, they're more likely to get somebody else's attention because it doesn't look like a walking billboard. Number three, don't sell the same shirt that your employees wear. We have a local coffee shop here where the owner is pretty savvy when it comes to marketing. He's got branding on all the cups. He's got branding on all the shirts. Go in there and all the employees are wearing the shirts. And it's not like Starbucks or one of these other bigger brands. It's a small one-shop brand. And it's totally rad that he treats his small business as if it's one of these big businesses. As somebody who has spent a lot of time in that marketing world, I appreciate the branding effort. But am I going to go walk in there and buy the exact same shirt that the employees wear? Nope. We have a bar here in town called Joe Jost, and it's like an icon when it comes to Southern California. A lot of people go to Long Beach to visit Joe Jost. Maybe you've been there, maybe you've seen it. It's a picture, it says Joe Jost, and it's got the schooner filled with beer. It's a classic logo, and that's one of these things that the employees wear, but then people go there and buy tons and tons and tons of merchandise from that place. That's probably one of the only examples I've ever seen where people buy the same shirt that the employees wear. And that's only because it's super cool to go there. It's got iconic status, and it's one of these things that you do when you come to Long Beach. You go to Joe Jost, you get a beer, you get what they call the special, which is a hot dog sandwich on white bread, and then you buy a t-shirt. But if you're not Joe Jost, don't expect other people to buy the t-shirt that your employees wear. Make something that is exclusive for the customers. Make them feel special and not just like part of the branding. So all this leads into what should you actually put on those shirts? Well, that's pretty simple. Cool art, something that people will actually want to buy and wear, something that people will buy for their friends and their family members because it's that rad. How do you go about defining rad? Turn to a professional. Go find a designer, go find an illustrator, and have them design something cool and clever for your business. I don't care how much time you spent in design school or art school, but now you're a plumber and you think that you still know what you're doing. You don't. Let these people do their job. People hire you to do your job and they're not trying to jump in and do your thing. Let these people do their thing because they know what's good for your artwork. They know what's cool, they know how to make it look rad, and they know how to make something that people want to buy. But now how do you go about finding somebody that knows all of these things? How do you go find the perfect designers? Here's a design and illustration super hack. If you're looking to find some really cool art, something that you know is going to sell, go to Redbubble or TeePublic and find one of these illustrators that are selling tons and tons of designs because their work is so rad. And then hire them to make you a design for your company. And then you go put up on your Redbubble shop, and then you turn around and tag the artist because people who bought that guy's art may turn around and want to buy yours. And next thing you know, you're selling a boatload of t-shirts because you connected with the right artist, and now people want your stuff, and you're making a bunch of money, and the only thing that you had to pay for was that artist's time. Now finally, let's talk about promotion of these new goods, because let's be honest, if you build it, that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna come. Just because you have some rad art on some nice t-shirts doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna clamor to come get it, because let's be real, they don't even know you exist. If you have a Facebook page, talk about it on your Facebook page. If you have an Instagram account, share it on your Instagram account. Take some pictures with some friends with the shirts on and share that on your social media. Don't know how to do it? Go look at other people who are selling t-shirts. Go look at the person's Instagram account who made the art for you and see what they're doing to promote their work, and then copy that behavior. And maybe some of the people that have bought shirts from you actually see that you have an Instagram account, and so they tag you. And when that person tags you, you send them a discount coupon for another purchase or for your business because you still want them to get in the door. These people went out of the way to share some appreciation for the thing that you made, so you should turn around and share some appreciation back with them because, number one, it brought you some brand awareness. Number two, maybe brought you some new customers. I think it's a perfectly valid idea to throw a coupon code at them, but don't just go out and say, hey, anybody who takes a picture with our shirt, we'll give you a 10% discount, because then it just feels slimy. But if somebody does it on their own accord, and then you turn around saying, hey, thanks for sharing, and then DM them that coupon code, and they get to use it, and they're thinking like, wow, that's rad, I didn't expect that. So maybe they get up on Yelp and give you a positive review, or they actually call you and use you for whatever that they need, or they tell their friends about you, and next thing you know, you've got a whole bevy of new customers potentially coming in your door. And all of them want a shirt with a possum and a plastic bag on it. It could happen. Here's another hot tip. Rotate out your designs. Make stuff for a limited amount of time. Sell it for half a year or maybe a quarter, and then go and put out a new one. Now, of course, you're probably gonna want to wait till people start to actually kind of, they actually start to appreciate it and say, wow, these shirts are so funny, these are cool. And the next thing you know, you're like, hey, we're shutting this one down, but we're bringing in new work. And that way it gets people interested. It gets them to want to buy more of your stuff because they're like, oh, I gotta get it now before it goes away, and then wait for the next one, and then maybe down the road you bring an old one back in. This is what I call the Johnny Cupcakes approach. You don't know who Johnny Cupcakes is? Go ask somebody. These are just some basic ideas. There's probably a whole bunch of other. We could probably go down a whole rabbit hole, promotional ideas for your brand, but I didn't want to go that deep into it. Really, I'm just here to encourage people to think outside the box with their brands, because maybe you are an Etsy seller and you're selling jewelry, or you're selling soap, or you're selling some other crafty goods, but you've never even considered making merchandise. You could turn around and add that merchandise to your shop just like that. Maybe you are the liquor store that just happens to have a very quirky owner that loves to say really weird things, and those things should end up on a shirt. I don't know if that person actually exists, but if they did, I would be putting those missives on shirts all day long. I'm just saying that merchandise isn't just for big brands and popular YouTube influencers. Merchandise is for everybody. And I believe there's an opportunity for a lot of different brands if they're just willing to put a little bit of brain power, a little bit of money into the investment of the art, and potentially you could have a little side business going on of just merchandise. Hell, it might even do better than your regular business, and you might just want to say, well, let's just make merch. Could happen. And that's all I got for you this time, and I hope you appreciated that. I'm going to get going. I've got termite prep to do, so gotta go. But before you go, make sure you hit that like button, go down to the comments and ask me any questions you might have, or just say hi, because, you know, I respond to everything anybody has to say, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks. Speaking of NFTs and CryptoWired, if you missed it, I did a whole video explaining my point of view on that. You can go check it out right there. Or if you want to see me build a book cover from scratch, go check out my other channel. That video's right there. And on that note, I've been Dave. You've been awesome. Go make more stuff.